What is up, everybody? That song always gets me hyped. Welcome once again to the Camera Junkie live stream. I'm your host. My name's Lewis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. And this happens to be episode 163. Yes, you heard correctly. 163 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream without skipping a beat. Now, if it is your first time here, please be sure to introduce yourself and say what's up in the chat so that you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome. And as tradition goes around here, the first thing we do is to go ahead and check the chat to see exactly who's hanging out with us tonight. And right off the bat, we got Michael saying hello, saying happy Saturday to everyone. All right. G. Albert's also in the house. Says, FYI, we have plenty of snow here that can be shipped to you. I'm not sure I want snow, man. Like, it's nice to see. It's good to take pictures of. But, yeah. He's also saying, Lewis, greetings from Northeast Ohio. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Northeast Ohio. And yes, definitely gotta be dealing with a lot of snow right now. I hope you and your family are staying safe. We got Parker Jennings also in the house saying hello to everyone. We got Jeremy also here saying yo fam. He has a message here, says, Lewis, let me know if you want before and after examples of Pro Mist. Just did a review on my 1/4 newer and have example pics. Well, we're gonna talk about it. I would love to get your thoughts on it. Are you pro or no, so to speak, on Pro Mists? And we also have Gretchen in the house saying hi to Jeremy, to Parker, and G. Albert. FYI, I got a message from Paul and he's got other arrangements, so Mr. Moderator will be missed. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into today's subject matter, so to speak, Pro Mist filters. Now, I was talking with Gretchen earlier today about this because I had gotten the Pro Mist 1/8 filter from K&F Concepts. So this is the box right here, as you can see, 1/8. And I had put it right here on my main camera to see if I could really notice a difference. And when I first put it on, and you know, we get such great high resolution from Ecamm and my setup here, that what I'm looking at and I'm monitoring, I wasn't able to see a difference, right? Because I was like in the mix too much, so to speak. I was like very close to what I was trying to see the effect of the Pro Mist filter, but I left it on my camera and just, you know, basically forgot about it. And it was only till a couple of days afterwards that I was in a Discord call and I was just hanging out, just like, you know, just like this. And I was able to see myself in a very small, like, thumbnail view, right? And because I had moved it to my, you know, teleprompter monitor here, what ended up happening was, like, I was able to see my entire image, the overall image, and the kind of like filmic look that I got from it, you know, seeing my own shot in a much smaller, like, thumbnail size, so to speak. So once I was able to see that, I was able to see the effect that the Pro Mist had given, and I liked it. And I was just like, oh, okay, like, this is pretty cool. So I'm able to see that. And I was also speaking with Doc Rock, having this conversation about the Pro Mist filters, and what he was able to inform me, which was kind of my one hesitance, which was, you know, K&F Concepts, this brand, is not the most expensive. So I was really wondering if I wasn't seeing the effects that I wanted out of the Pro Mist 1/8 because I had gone for the less expensive option, so to speak. And I was wondering, should I go heavier on the mist, maybe go to a quarter diffusion, or should I go stay at the 1/8 but in a higher price bracket? And that's what basically my question to Doc was. And before I even got to it, he had just mentioned himself that when it comes to filters right now, almost like trying to buy a bad camera is kind of like impossible, because there's been so many leaps and bounds that pretty much anything within the last 10 years is going to be more than adequate for you. But with that being said, filters pretty much have done the same thing, where like even the less expensive options are holding, you know, like holding up their weight, so to speak. They're punching above their weight class, right? So with that being said, I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on the 1/4 diffusion from the same. So I'm basically in just about like $40, and I think you can tell that ever since I've changed it, right here just on this shot, you can see the halation and the glow that we're getting off of the reflections just off of this box. So to give you a bit of, you know, contrast, I'm gonna go ahead and move over to my secondary shot here, and you can see that this one is no filter whatsoever. So if I were to pull up the same, oh, I have it manual. I'm over here trying to get it to focus, and I forgot that that's on me. But I think you can tell the difference of the glow even on the box over here, and how you're not getting that extra mystification, so to speak, right, that we're gonna get right over here. So right now I am like really happy, and I feel that for my setup, I guess because I also have darker like overall scene, that the 1/4 was what I needed to actually get that effect. And now that I put it on there, darkening up the image, I've actually had to go ahead and adjust my settings on my camera, which I hadn't touched for the longest time. And I went from, believe it or not, I was running this camera at f3.5. That's the same you know, aperture setting that you would get with the kit lens, right? So technically I could have used my kit lens, but there is a huge discrepancy between zooms and prime lenses, which is a discussion for another day. But with that being said, having my Sigma 16mm right here, and now like putting it with this 1/4 diffusion, I was able to actually, you know, mess with the settings and have to open up my aperture or bring it down. And now I'm running it at let me tell you, f2.5. So yeah, at least, would that still be considered a full stop? I'm not sure, but from f3.5 to 2.5, and yeah, and I'm really enjoying the look. Like we can see the background, and the little fairy lights that I put for Christmas really have a different effect, way more bokeh, you know, bokeh-licious, so to speak, in the background. So I'm really liking it. And the film effect I was also able to see once I let the camera focus to the background, right? And the things that were here in the forefront that wouldn't, you know, get focused on would really fall into like this, just like yeah, it's like film. It looks really, really nice. But I guess for me, I'm liking the 1/4 to start. But now moving back to this camera, well, actually, let me go to my overhead. That's this one right here. There we go. This is what I was able to do. This is what I showed Gretchen, and this might look like nothing, but I'm gonna go ahead and pop this out so that we can really illustrate. This is my 1/8 mist filter, and I wanted to put it onto my camera right over here, right? But this is a 67 millimeter filter, and that is actually using a 52 millimeter thread. So right away I went to look for my step-up rings, but at the same time I realized that if I was going to use a step-up ring with this setup, it was gonna kind of negate my lens hood, so I wasn't gonna be able to use it. And I was like, okay, this is kind of like purposeful in my setup, right? Because I don't want no light bleed coming in from any other direction, and at the same time then I would have to try to find a place for it. So what I did was, before I was able to find my step-up rings, or even pretty much look for them, I looked at the inside of this, and there's just a bunch of, let me see if we can get it to focus. Really? Like all up in the Kool-Aid, and this thing, there we go. Welcome to the party, ZV. All right. And what I want to show is these grooves that are just on the inside. Wow, we lost the focus again. There we go. Are we coming through? I'm gonna have to put this in manual focus as well. Let me see if I can get a better light. Ooh, too much. All right, on the inside here, we can see these grooves, these lines, right? And each one is basically just like a step down. Now, not every lens hood acts this way, but the Sigmas actually do. There's quite a different, varieties that you can find, but the Sigmas actually have this design. So what I did was I decided to press fit the filter into the hood so that I can still utilize it. Basically, I just dropped it down. As you can see, it falls a bit crooked, but then I just went from the inside and just started popping it out until I was able to get it all nice and square. And then from the top, pushed it down just a bit to lock it in place. And now I've just press fitted a larger diameter filter, and we can do this with a variety of different sizes. That was a 67, but I bet I can fit a 72 right on the front just the same way. And now I don't have to not utilize my lens hood, and I don't have to bring into play step-up rings. So 2 birds, 1 stone. And now with that being said, I'm able to come over here and connect that. And now we have Pro Mist 1/8 mist on my secondary camera. So now from misty here to misty there, I'm all set when it comes to my Pro Mist filters. So let me know what you guys think. And that hack for the lens hood pretty much just hit me today, and I was like, I had to share it with Gretchen while I was speaking with her, and I'm gonna be utilizing that a lot. So hopefully that is something that you could also put in your bag of arsenal and tricks when you're out there running and gunning, and instead of going crazy for step-up rings, to have the ability to just kind of press fit the look that you're trying to get right onto the lens hood. So let's go ahead and check the chat real quick. Okay, so we got Jeremy saying, we're generally pretty civil, so no worries on Mr. Moderator not being around. Oh, I know. But it was like, he's always here. So it's shout out to Paul, because it's 160 something, episodes, and he's been here through most of them. So it doesn't get lost on me at all. The fact that we're having such like a tight knit community, and it's already starting to grow, because we're going to talk about last week's show and what I was able to do with it this week and what it's led about. And I think I might even pull up my YouTube analytics to see exactly what numbers we got. Okay, so Gretchen says my filter is KNF Black Diffusion 1/2. That's the next one. That's the next one, because I'm really enjoying this series, and this is like the Nano K series, and so you can see the quality for me, like, and the effect that it's giving is giving a really filmic look. So I'm really enjoying it because it's not changing the colors, especially the way that I like them, so we're still getting cool colors, in the background, and, like as far as skin tones and things like that. And at the same time, getting like that filmic, old school, like, yeah, like film look. He basically is confirming. He says, I won't ever go back to non-pro mist. I like the effect too much. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. That's why, once again, I brought it up when I first got it, and now I'm like recanting my experience with it. Hey, George is in the house saying hello to everyone. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for stopping by. The nice thing is that the bokeh and the diffusion work together to create a natural looking blur. Yeah, and that's what I'm really liking, because like, it's to best explain. There is different type of like bokeh that we're gonna be dealing with. So as I point right here, right, like this part of my background is a lot closer to me than that corner, right? All the way, if I could point correctly, there, right? That's the furthest most spot, and this section right here in my frame is a lot closer, right? So now, with that being said, as I drag my finger from one point to the other, there's a uniform, like, grain. Yeah, it's like a grain aspect that's built right into it. And because it's on top and it's not digital, it's not something that needs to be added frame by frame that it might get lost. It is affecting in real time the light that's being emitted or hitting the sensor, and that's why it looks so good. And that's the whole thing. Like, this idea of just pressing on a filter is kind of like the same thing that we do in photography when we just want to add a gel, right? We have our flash, and we're just going to grab a piece of, gel color and literally just clip it in front to get the effect. So that and this is just like a perfect combination of what you're trying to get out of it. So that now, you see, like, this is just an overall brighter image, right? The entire exposure, because we're getting more of that background here that's lit up with the blue. So, but it still looks good. Like, I'm very happy. So I'm right there with you, Jeremy. I think I'm gonna be a mystified person from now on, because I'm really enjoying the effect that I'm getting from it. And I think the next step is to move on and try to see how I could apply filters like this onto my iPhone. Like, I'm gonna be looking into all those moment lenses and stuff, or you could just like screw on and get a new case for my iPhone. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. That might be what we talk about next week. Excuse me for a quick second. I will be right back. Excuse me, I had to blow my nose. Still dealing with a little bit of the congestion, and one of the old school remedies is to take some, how we say, bibaporu, some Vicks vapor rub, and just with a Q-tip, just line the insides of your nose to get it in there and just clear it up, and it works. But it was just building all up to the tip that I had to go take care of it. So all right, let's go back to where we were. Gretchen says, I pulled out all my lenses to see if there's anything I can DIY. Right? That's so cool. Thank you. Is going to talk about your shoddy shorts challenge. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. And that's what I said. I was going to pull up like my YouTube analytics so that we can get the exact numbers. All right. And Jeremy's saying something here. Says, isn't there a formula on the Diffusion strength based on millimeter lens? Wider lenses require stronger diffusion. I've never heard of this. See, maybe that was my problem from the get-go, and the 1/8 works better with a tighter type lens, being like this look right here, the 50 millimeter equivalent look. So, and she says, yes, I think so. I'm using a 22 millimeter lens. But bro, you just put me onto something, because like in video, what I'm recognizing in video, filters are a lot more like prevalent, and I guess more widely used, because you're dealing with so many frames that you want to put it, like I said, in front of the sensor itself, so that you can affect everything that's hitting the either film or, in this case, sensor. But when it comes to filters and photography, I used to like shy away from them, right? Like, I'm just being honest, because when it comes to photography, a lot of the effects that you would get from a filter, you could easily place as an effect, right, in your editing program of choice, right? So the grain and all that stuff, and we're literally talking about a single shot. So you would want to get the cleanest, sharpest image, so that way you have full control and manipulation of your photos in the back end, so to speak. And even the times that I would use a filter to protect my, like my favorite lens, and like one thing that I do recommend in photography, and video, if you're shooting on the beach, right, put a clear filter in front of your lens, because there's a thing called sand blasting, which is when sand gets blasted with air onto anything, and it's gonna score it and scratch it, and there's sand in the air just naturally happening on the beach. And if you decide to not put a filter in front of it, you'll start getting micro scratches in the front of your highly or very expensive lens, which is why I would recommend, if you're in that scenario, make sure that you use even a clear filter. But it's brought up scenarios in photography that, like whether it's a flash or another light source, it then creates another point of like fracture or light fracture, right? Or so that you would get a lens flare, anything of that sort, onto your image that naturally wouldn't be there. And that's why you pay like kind of the big bucks for a high price like G Master lens, so that you don't deal with flares and chromatic aberrations and all these things in your imagery, because anything, like I said, you could add in post-production. So I've dealt with that by adding clear filters, and with that, being said, when I have a perfect scenario, whether you're in a studio or away from elements that could damage your lens, I would prefer to not really use filters. So when it comes to video, I always, you know, pixel peeper, so to speak, would always look for the cleanest, sharpest image. But to add all of that, graininess in post production, and when it comes to video, this is the equivalent of it. You see, Michael, it says, I'm not a big fan of filters since it bakes it into the image. Yeah, it's correct, but then at the same time, unless you're shooting in log, like if you're doing it for the way that I'm doing, right, just on the fly, then it's something else that you don't need to do in post-production. Another thing that I'm not asking my computer to do, right? So in this use case scenario, it's perfect, right? And different things like that. But that's kind of the same reason why for photography that I was just saying, Michael, that I'm not the biggest fan of filters in general. The only filters that I would use, in all sincerity, the only filter that I would use would be like a circular polarized filter, a CPL. And that was mostly when I was just in my vehicle. And the reason why, just to explain why I say that that's the filter that I used when I was in my vehicle, is because you're surrounded by glass in your car. So when I would park and decide to take a photo, or if I wanted to just like pray and spray, so to speak, right, and just pick up my camera because I was seeing a nice car driving down the highway while I was driving, what I would do is I would just pick up the camera and just start clicking away in the general direction, praying that as I spray all these shots over, that one of them would be good enough that I can work with, right? What would end up happening is that if there was a speck of dirt on your windshield, anything like that, then the camera would then focus on that because it's within minimal focusing distance, and you're getting a bunch of blurry shots of the vehicle that you were trying to shoot with. So I would set the CPL to make sure that it would bypass the glass or the glare that the glass was creating, so that it wouldn't see it at all. That way, whenever I would pick up the camera, it would only shoot and focus and use the autofocus that I pay for in my camera on the vehicles while I was driving, and just spraying and praying, but making sure that it wouldn't catch on anything. And that's why I use the circular polarized filter, right? You're able to change which glare you can do it. And once I would find the glare on it, right, because it's circular polarized, and throwing it in and out of the like the front seat, the way that I had it, what I would do is that I would take a little piece of gaff tape and just like wrap it around, so that at that setting it wouldn't spin anymore. That way, every time I would just pick up the camera, it would be ready to go. And man, those are the days when I was shooting Canon. Going back to what Doc was talking about earlier today. I use filters in B&W film, so black and white. I still have very old yellow filters. Yeah, like I have photos from my childhood family. I was getting together with my niece to put all those pictures together and start digitizing them, but there was so many photos that were sepia, straight red. And I'm looking at this photo and I'm like, wow, like we were just doing that thing, we were just doing our best. So it's very, very interesting. Hey, Randy made it. How you doing, sir? Says, hello, everyone. Being retired, I seem to be late all the time. Well, congratulations once again on your retirement, Randy. Well deserved, and happy to have you here hanging out with us tonight. So Gretchen says, I have UV filters on all my lenses due to the fact that I spend so much time in inclement weather. Yep, on the beach, in the mountains, sand, salt, water, wind, not a friend of glass. You see? And it makes total sense because it's a lot easier to change that. It's like the same theory that I use for all my iPhones, right? uh, I always put a tempered glass screen protector on it, right? Because it's a lot easier to change a tempered glass screen protector for basically pennies on the dollar compared to your screen on your phone. And even if it's something as simple as just scratching, like with your keys while your phone and your keys were in your pocket together, right? You just get all these little micro scratches. And once you get fed up with having too many or maybe too many micro cracks or whatever, you could just simply remove that screen protector, replace it, put a new one on there, and it's just like the day that you bought it. It makes all the sense in the world. Is making a poster with a screenshot on the Canon list. Oh, that's so good. I was like, screenshot it. All right. So last week we talked about the shoddy shorts challenge, right? Yeah. Which was just me making a short every day of the week. Some hit better than others, but we're going to go through them now. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Let's see, no, that's not the correct one. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm just pulling up my analytics here so that I can share with you guys. Now I'm going to go to the content, my shorts feed. Okay, and I'm most likely going to be late. I'm going to be 100% upfront with everyone here. But I am going to be late because I have yet to eat today. And as soon as I'm done here with the live stream, I'm going to go take care of that. And then after I'm done eating is when I'm going to go ahead and finish, or actually start creating today's short to finish off the challenge. So today I'm going to be running on Pacific Standard Time, and I'm going to make sure that I upload the short before 3 a.m. Right? So that's the deal, right? Because I haven't really started anything today, and I'm doing this, which is what I love to do every week. And but I will faint if I don't get some food in me within the next hour or so. So got a little bug flying around here, trying to take care of that. Okay, the first video that I put out, let me see if I could share this. Hold on, I should be able to. Let's bring this over here. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So as we can see here, the first short that I posted on this challenge was on January the 7th. And that one ended up giving us 2,808. Doc will love that, 808. 2,808. And that was my first video. Now, in the shoddy shorts challenge, this is probably the one that bothers me the most, that nobody cares about, but it has everything to do with audio, and it's what I'm always talking about, which is bad audio is unwatchable. So that one had the worst audio because it was literally straight out of the iPhone. The air conditioning was on, Aiden was making noise, and all of the troubles in the past that I've dealt with, that I've kind of just like taken care of, through time, through varieties of iterations, and now they just all came back because I'm creating a shoddy short on my iPhone. But with that being said, I was able to then start putting things together to be able to just start creating the same shoddy shorts, but giving it a better audio experience. So the second day, I was able to create the second video, and as you can see, that one pretty much didn't get no play. 121 views, right? But what can I say? I guess nobody was watching on those days because that was Monday. So from Sunday, I guess more people were watching. Monday was a better day. But this is all a learning experience because it's really a crapshoot, so to speak. So now, Tuesday had a B-roll with the ZV-1F, right? That one we're looking at 1,858, right? Yep, 1,858 views. So that one passed the 1,000 view mark, which is good. And as far as the metrics go, they're all like picking up subscribers and I guess putting my content in front of more people. So that's the whole goal. One of the better doing ones was the next day, which was the ZV-1F cold shoe adapter, right? Which is just that the adapter that I got, this little guy, the small rig. Really enjoy that, right? And I really enjoy the ZV-1 camera, but that's, you guys heard me say that enough. That's for another day. But as you can see, that I basically designed all of these videos around the camera because I was able to, while creating the short, have a link to a video that I've already created. And one of my better performing videos is all around the 5 like accessories that I recommend for the Sony ZV-1F. So with that being said, I was able to just pick this as a topic to create the content and then redirect them once again to my best performing video as of late, and to see how much like view time that we'd be able to get them watching on my channel, hopefully leading to subscribers, which I had mentioned before, either last week or the week before, that we're going to be going for 10,000 subscribers. Now we're already at 1775 around there, 1778, I guess, when I just checked right now, if that's the correct number. But we continue. The next day I put up the video. Well, actually, to finish that off, we got 2,467 views on the cold shoe adapter. I then create the video of the trickle charge, or how to utilize or get better battery life, because that is kind of like the camera's one negative, which is that the ZV-1 is so small and compact that it ended up using this NPF or the NPBX1 battery that we've been using from the RX series all the way from back in the day, all the way to now. Now, Sony batteries, if it's Sony branded, man, these things, they last the test of time. And this is why I'm going to tell you why, at least for me, these little things, it makes sense to buy the name brand if it's a quality company like Sony. Why? Because I have a variety of Sony products, and one that I'm going to bring up right now is one that I've had in my possession for over 20 years, which is my Sony PSP, old school PSP, and this is the slim. Now, I even had the original, like the Fat Boy, but this one I've had for a long time. And the original Sony batteries, original Sony branded battery for the PSP still works. I'm able to charge this whenever I want to play, and wouldn't be surprised. Look, it is still on. It is still on. I just turned this on and my game is still saved there, and it's been sitting on a shelf. So if that's not a ringing endorsement, right, for the company Sony, and why I've been a fan of them forever, because they've been a components company. So the fact that pretty much throughout my life, I've been very fortunate that every aspect that I've dabbled in, Sony has put a really good foot forward. So I've been a Sony fanboy since my Walkman days. But that's just a great example of why I think that these little things matter, right? But I digress. Trickle charging the Sony ZV-1F short didn't do too bad, but wasn't one of the better performing ones for it. And then yesterday was the last one that I had posted up, which is how to 4K with the Sony ZV-1F. And that one, as we can see, 2,451 views, and that one is within basically a 24-hour period. So that one, once again, is one of the better performing. Now, the thing is that I have noticed is that once they've reached these like limits, they kind of like stop momentum, and that's nobody's fault, so to speak. Is just how much from my understanding, and this is just the way that I understand it, right? There are so many YouTube shorts that are being uploaded every freaking second. Like every second there's videos that are being uploaded, right? So the fact that some of these were able to hang in there and get 2,800, 2,400 views, even 1,800 views, right? And not be more or less like the 121 views, that's a win in my book, right? But it was a learning experience, and one of the things that I learned was that we naturally like start finding the easiest way to do things. So what did I learn from the challenge? Well, one of the main things that I learned from the challenge was that what I was just iterating, which is that we will always find a template, and we will always find the easiest way to do things. That's like in human behavior, right? That with the knowledge, we're always constantly problem solving. And because I made this a challenge of having to create a short video every single day, then I now created new, hypothetical problems for me, right? There was new challenges that I needed to take part into, and to complete the task, I then created templates and things to be able to meet the goal of the challenge. One of them was my tripod setup, which I'm going to share with you now. First off, this is my small rig tripod. I believe I had mentioned it before. Let me say that into the microphone so that you guys could hear me better. This is my small rig carbon fiber tripod. I believe I made a video or a live stream about this. This is the 4060, right? It's the tripod AP-10 carbon fiber. It separates right here to become a monopod. Pretty cool. But what I did was I was able to, like one of the features that I really enjoy of this tripod is that throughout the tripod we have quarter 20s that I'm able, and even one at the bottom that I'm able to just quickly attach things to. Like one of my favorite things of all time, my magic arms, right? My friction arms. So right there, I was able to apply. Let me see if I could put this down and you guys can still see it. No. Okay. Oh. My nephew's messaging me, so sorry for that quick distraction. But going back to it, as we can see, I have my quarter 20 and I have my magic arm locked in, so now it becomes part of the tripod, and I was able to quickly put on my Rode Wireless Go Pro, right? No, these are the Wireless Go 2s. The Pros are the ones that are available right now. Those came out like a month after I got these, but I digress. And I also have my Rode, like handle. So I was able to just basically create a holder for it, right? And because I was doing this on the iPhone, let me grab it. I put my Ulanzi tripod mount onto it so that I can have a quick release system. And this is my resolution for it, right? I wanted to get the best audio possible. So the best audio was with crisp, and my entire setup, that being my Rodecaster Pro and the entire setup. So what I was able to do was to connect this Rode Wireless Go directly to that and then start utilizing that as my main microphone. To give you an example. And now we're listening to the Rode Wireless Go. And this was the setup that I was using. I was still recording the video directly into the camera because of the fact that I was getting the highest quality video in the codec that was built for the iPhone. So even though we have the ability to connect the camera through, like the setup, to give you an example, not that one, this one, that's the continuity camera. This max resolution is at 1080p. So max resolution here, I wanted to get the full 4K. So once again, I went and I recorded directly into the camera. So with the Stream Deck, which once again, go overhead, which is what I use to control all of these scenes, right? And jump back and forth. The Stream Deck, I was able to hit the record button right here and synchronize it with the video recording. So I would hit here and I'll just go set. And then I would do the entire clip, say what I was going to say, and then throw them right into Final Cut Pro so that I can throw the good audio over the video that I threw on there. And that was my quick, fast, and dirty setup for my YouTube shoddy shorts challenge, so to speak. And this is what I'm going to use later today to finish that up for today's video, and it being the last one. Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong microphone. I hope you guys heard that, but see. Yeah, because I moved this microphone away and then I started speaking to the other one and I did a doc rock, right? Life happens. But that's basically the setup that I've been working with, and yeah, and it's been working for me. So now I have a new way of doing things, and even if I wanted to go, and go directly and make it maybe even a step easier, right? And say, hey, you know what, 1080p is good enough, resolution for the videos that I'm creating, then you'll be able to utilize your phone. Now, let's say you didn't want to use continuity camera or you wanted to get multiple shots. Well, there's a program that I spoke to my friend Eden Lu about, because she is a spokesperson for the program Camo, which allows you to connect basically any smartphone to your computer and utilize the camera as your main camera. So I spoke with her to get hooked up with Camo, and I was now able to connect multiple cameras or multiple iPhones as cameras directly into Ecamm, which is something that I'm planning to do just for fun, to basically have an iPhone live stream with two angles, right? And using a couple of different iPhones to pull it off. So basically, going from shoddy shorts to a shoddy live stream, right? Using a less kind of lesser quality of resolution and see how it goes, because I don't really think it's going to be a problem when, if the content is good and you're having fun doing it, the rest is by the wayside. And that's why I constantly say upgrade your skills before your gear, because if you maximize your skills, then you can maximize your gear and get the most out of anything, right? Because the feedback that I got from, the crew that put me on my Shoddy Shorts challenge this week, shout out to Kathy Hester, right, who put this challenge on me. She said that she loved it, and that because I'm putting into those little details, that even for me, the audio really suffered, right? But I just left it in there because that was the entire premise of the challenge. I just let that go. That at the same time, the quality, was 4K, and it was what I wanted to get out of it. That she was more than, like, taken back. She was like, I saw nothing. I saw amazing video clips that I would be extremely happy to have as my own. And I'm like, I appreciate it, because that's just how it is most of the time. We are our own worst critics, and nobody noticed any errors in any of the videos that I made this week, right? Any of the shorts in this challenge, except me, because I'm the one who's being hypercritical, right? And once again, I do have a lot of fun, like, scrutinizing all of this stuff, because I have that ability to do so. But that's why, is the fine line of, like, done is better than perfect, right? Because there is no such thing as perfect. So we'll just be, like, delusional if that's all we're thinking, right? So with that being said, I hope that my experience with this challenge can also be of benefit to you as well, in one way or another, to just get it done, get it out there. Done is better than perfect. And yeah, and have fun while you do it, because that's the whole point of this, right? I do have a lot of fun, and that lot of fun is usually what stops me from just hitting publish and saying it's done and it's finished. So taking lessons and taking everything in stride to say, you know what, sometimes, well, most times, what I consider just done could be somebody else's perfect. Ooh, I like that. That sounded good, right? Give me a thumbs up if you agree, right? That what I consider just done could be somebody else's perfect, right? And that's kind of like the message that I got this week. That the videos and the tips that I gave in the videos was perfect and exactly what people needed. Okay, and we're back. But now I'm going to get something to drink because I'm feeling a bit dry. All right. And we're back. Now, gonna do one last thing here. And that is this. Boom. Cities Gaw. Channels that I think you should go and watch. And this week's Cities Gaw is Run Scene, Nigel Barrios. Now, Nigel is a Micro Four Thirds shooter and filmmaker. If you haven't heard of his content, let me be the first one to introduce you to him. I've been watching him for years, and he's just a completely different perspective when it comes to cameras and gear, which is why I've been watching his content for years, and I'm recommending him to you today if you haven't seen him, because he's all about Micro Four Thirds, small, compact, like run and gun, lightweight filmmaking. And he has a lot of productions, but he's kind of in the same ballpark, right? Make the most of what you have, and he's really into like more of his like vintage gear, both in camera bodies and lenses themselves. So if you haven't heard of him, I highly recommend you go out and check out some of his content. And this is this week's Cities Gaw, channels that I think you should go and watch. Nigel Barros. Yep. Boom. And that's it, guys. We did it. Another successful live stream. This has been an absolute blast, as it always is. If you've made it to the end and you're watching this on the replay, make sure that you like and that you subscribe so that you're all nice made aware of when we do this. But if you haven't gotten the gist already, we do this every single week. This was episode 163, and next week I will see all of your smiling faces as we get ready for episode 164, and we're doing it all over again, same time, same place. And I can't wait to see all of you and have you hang out with me as we do it all over again. So let's go right back to the chat before we go. Okay, so Randy was saying that he loves my ZV-1F shorts. Thank you. Says I bought a dummy batteries for the RX 100 MV and the ZV-1 Mark II. I was wondering if they can work on the ZV-1F. Yes, if it's the same battery and the same battery type, they're all gonna work. Gretchen says retitle that first one. It's ironic, not Sonic. See, I don't even know, but I'm gonna have to look at that a bit later. Hey, Scott made it as well. He's saying hi to the crew. How are you doing? Happy Saturday. And Gretchen was repeating or basically stating what I had just said. Please be sure to hit the like button, like, subscribe, and do all that YouTube-y stuff. Randy says it's a fantastic setup. Thank you. It's simple, but it works. But having the proximity really gives that like first person view with me handling the camera. What I'm really surprised at was this, right? That if I show you, like, that was the short setup, right? Like, this is just my desk, and all I did was just like open my laptop and literally placed the tripod right where you saw it. And that was the view that I had. Uh-oh. We just added camera number 5 to the setup. So we have 4 cameras, and now today, let's go back here. Oh, that did not work as planned. Because maybe I don't have the camo open over here. Let's see. There we go. Boom. And that's how that works. Right on the fly. And this is over my face. Let's change that. But basically that's it in a nutshell. Because that still looks good. That's 1080. And that's live and that's floating. But yeah, also to give you guys a little bit more of a behind the scenes look. That's my Sony wall. My PSP. My PS1. My PS2. My PS3. My PS4. Like I said, Sony fanboy. Been using Sony for a while now. All right, and now we can just exit that. But now I have a floating camera, completely wireless, with the power of camo that we can add to the mix. All right, and Gretchen was letting me know that they heard me. Perfect. All right, and now we're saying bye. So yes, everyone, have a great week. All right. Can't wait to do it all over again next week. And I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces as we roll into episode 164. And yeah. Oh, another bit of information that I wanted to leave with you guys is that 2 weeks from now, I will be on the road. So I will still be doing a live stream, but it's going to be from a hotel in Orlando because I will be partaking in this year's Podfest. So that's going to be on the 25th through the 28th. And the live streamed Camera Junkie Live for the 27th will be out of the hotel. So we'll be hanging out on the road, which probably I'm going to kind of try to minimize my setup as well. So see exactly what I bring with me, even though I'm going to be bringing quite a bit of gear because we're going to be doing the Podfest. But I digress. Guys, I can't wait to see you next week and the week after that. So take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you next time. Talk to you.